So I have a lovely selection of tea here, and that's because Joe Rotella is here, and he is going to show us how to make this fantastic tea box. But first, you said that I could add the perfect little embellishment to end this up. So I'm going to take this little word, put it right on there, and I think it makes the collage really pop.
Perfect.
Yeah?
Perfect.
Okay, so now you're telling us that we can take all these scrapbook supplies that we have and make this beautiful box.
Absolutely. And that's the perfect thing. It's perfect for scraps to use collage, but we're going to get messy. So I want you to use this wax resist. Any ink or paint you get on your hands, it's going to wash right off.
I love that.
We've got a whole pile of scraps, and I want to take each scrap and ink the edges, and you want to be sure to use an archival ink.
I know, and I already inked that one for you because I'm such a good assistant.
I'm going to put it right in the water.
Why are you putting your paper in water, Joe?
Well, if we were collaging with a fine paper, a thin paper, the medium will go right through it, but this is so thick.
Heavy scrapbook paper, so can I just dump this direct from having inked the pad? Now, is this a special kind of ink that we're using in order to be able to dump it in the water and not have it bleed?
Archival. A dye ink would bleed, so we can't use an archival.
Okay, so anything that's like a permanent ink that's not going to be dye-based. Okay, great.
And you can collage on just about anything. I have an unfinished tea box here. I found stuff at thrift stores, light switches, wood stuff. Unfinished is easy to work with. We have to take it apart and stuff. I've already done that. We'll talk about that in a sec. But let's go ahead and dive right in and do some collage. Now, I've painted the edges so that it's hard to collage right to the edge. So that little bit of acrylic paint really covers a multitude of sins.
I really like any technique that's forgiving and lets you make mistakes and you don't have to think about whether you've done it, you know what I mean, perfectly.
Absolutely, and we're gonna work on just the top.
Okay.
And it's super easy to do. We just take a brush that's a little bit wet.
Just with water?
Water, we're gonna dip it in some medium. Give that a good sloppy coat.
How thickly would you say that you're painting that medium on there? Is it just like by feel?
It's just by feel. And you know, it'll dry solid, it'll dry clear, you don't have to worry about it.
Now, do you always work in bits and pieces as opposed to doing an entire, covering the whole lid with medium, or?
Yeah, I don't want it to dry. So as we go, now I'm gonna take this out of the water and it's really, really wet. So we'll just tap it dry just a little bit, lay it down right on top of the medium. Now you don't have to go straight, but I think especially when you're collaging and from a beginner standpoint, keeping horizontal and vertical lines is easier than diagonals.
That is a fantastic tip.
And you can wrap around the edges. So I've got that little piece here. Just put some medium. Make sure that you wrap it right around the edge.
Oh, and you get that pretty edge.
And it sort of ties the sides in to the top.
That's a really great idea. And again, like the water is just relaxing the paper, making it chill out.
Chill.
Exactly.
Crafting shouldn't be stressful.
I so agree. That's why we're good crafting buddies.
And the thing is, if you do something here and you don't like it, collage right on top of it.
That's my favorite thing about collage. And I do this all the time on my scrapbook pages where, you know, people always think that paint and collaging is like scary, but it's so forgiving because you can absolutely take something you don't like and cover it up without even thinking about it.
This is an acrylic medium too, and the nice part is acrylic likes acrylic. So you could put acrylic paint on this, you could stamp with it, you could paint with it. But the key is make sure you have medium underneath and then your image on top.
So then now once we're done collaging the whole top of it, right, we're gonna add the little special embellishment that I added. And now we did a little bit of friend crafting. You know, I'm big on crafting with your friends. And so Joe, he emailed me a file that had the word exactly how he wanted it, and I promised him that I would cut it out. So I want to show you how I did that. So once I had imported it from a USB right into my machine, what I did is I am going to take my mat, which has this little scrap of paper on it, and that's because, man, how many of these have I got in my craft room? You know, I've got a million little scraps, and I love that I can actually use it. So let me just move this out of the way so I can load my mat right in here. I'm gonna go ahead and press the load button. Oops, and I'm gonna lose my stylus, but I got it back. Okay, so the question is, I don't know how to place the word T, which you can see on the screen here. So I'm gonna scan my paper into the machine, and that scanning is gonna allow me to see that scrap and use every little bit of my paper to make sure that it's placed perfectly. So while I'm doing this, I have a quick question for you, Joe.
Absolutely.
I noticed that on your finished project that it's actually not a flat box on the table, it's lifted.
Well, that's the cool thing. Anytime you alter something from a thrift store or brand new, see if you can extend it. In this case, I had some knobs that we got at a garage sale. It made perfect feet.
Oh, just doorknobs or drawer knobs or something like that. That's a great idea. I love that.
You know, anything you're thinking of collaging, make sure you can take it apart easily. This has a hinge. It's easy to unscrew. A little screwdriver in your toolkit.
Super easy. I love that.
Like the glass piece, make sure you can get the knob off, the back out. I use cat food cups for my medium, for paint.
That's so smart. Now, I just want to show this, this is a really black piece of paper that I've scanned in here. So I'm just going to go into my settings and I'm going to sort of gray it out a little by choosing the second option in background. And then I can see much more easily to drag the T and conserve my paper exactly as I want on my scrap. I'm going to say OK. I'm going to choose cut, and the machine is off and cutting. Now I have my little word here, my final embellishment, my perfect moment cut out here. I'm just gonna pop that right off the mat and let those little inner pieces fall out. There's my word T. And now we could put this in right in this collaging stage exactly like this, right? And pop it like, is that okay?
It's perfect.
I don't wanna change your design on you.
No, it's perfect. I'm gonna give this to you.
Ooh,
there you go.
I like that.
This is your design now.
Well, now I am so excited to have my very own tea box.